Admiral James Walker stood at the massive viewport of Earth Command Station, his weathered face reflecting in the reinforced glass. Below him, Earth turned slowly, its blue oceans now tinted gray with ash, its green continents scarred with black, craters where cities had once stood. Yet despite these wounds, his planet lived. More importantly, his planet had won. Admiral, the broadcast system is ready. Walker turned to face the young officer. Lieutenant Davis looked tired. They all did. No one had slept much during the 3 months of the invasion, and even less during the final week when humanity's desperate counterattack had driven the aliens back. How many of their communication systems did we capture intact? Walker asked. 12. Major relay stations, sir. Our techs say that's enough to reach about 60% of their known territory. Walker nodded. It will have to do. The rest will hear it from their friends. He straightened his uniform jacket. Is Dr. Reed here yet? As if summoned by his words, the door to the observation deck slid open. Dr. Emily Reed entered, carrying a data tablet. Her right arm was in a sling, a souvenir from the Battle of New Delhi, where she had been collecting alien technology while under heavy fire. Doctor, Walker greeted her. What have we learned about our unwelcome visitors? Reed swiped across her tablet with her good hand. Images of various alien species appeared, along with star maps and ship designs. They call themselves the Stellar Concordat, 17 different species in total with a loose central government. They've been expanding for about 300 years. She looked up at Walker. We weren't their first victims, just their latest. Walker frowned. And their reason for attacking us? Standard procedure according to their military logs. They find developing worlds, overwhelm them with superior technology, and add them to the Concordat, sometimes as slaves, sometimes as low-status members. Reed's mouth formed a grim line. They expected us to surrender within days. Walker turned back to the viewport, staring at Earth. Their mistake. It had been their mistake indeed. The Concordat had arrived with ships that dwarfed humanity's largest vessels. Their weapons had cut through Earth's defenses like paper. Their soldiers had landed in major cities across the globe. But they had not counted on human adaptability. They had not expected Earth's militaries to set aside their differences and unite within hours of the first attack. They had not anticipated how quickly human scientists would reverse engineer captured alien weapons. And most of all, they had not understood that humans, when backed into a corner, would fight with a savagery that shocked even veteran Concordat commanders. The tide had turned 3 weeks into the invasion when Russian and American special forces had captured an intact alien destroyer over the ruins of Tokyo. Within days, Earth scientists had cracked its propulsion and weapon systems. Within 2 weeks, those same weapons had been mass-produced in underground factories around the world. The aliens had expected to face spears. Instead, they found themselves fighting an enemy who took their own weapons and improved them. The broadcast team is ready, sir, Lieutenant Davis said, interrupting Walker's. Thoughts? Walker nodded. Tell me about the current situation in the Concordat, Doctor. Reed swiped to a new screen on her tablet. Their fleet is in retreat. Based on their communications, many of their commanders were killed in our counterattack. Their leadership is in chaos. She paused. But the Concordat is just one power in the galaxy. There are others who might see us as a threat or an opportunity. Walker walked to the center of the room where a simple podium had been set up. Behind it, the Earth turned slowly, its battle scars visible to all who would soon watch the broadcast. That's why they need to hear from us, he said. All of them. Reed took a position off to the side, just out of camera range. The broadcast crew gave Walker a countdown. 3, 2, 1. The red light on the camera blinked on. My name is Admiral James Walker of the United Earth Defense Force, he began, his voice steady and cold. I speak to you from Earth orbit, where the last ships of your Concordat invasion fleet are being destroyed as I talk. Walker paused, letting the silence hang for a moment. You came to our world uninvited. You destroyed our cities. You killed millions of our people. You expected us to bow down before your superior technology. His eyes narrowed. Instead, We took your weapons and turned them against you. We studied your ships and improved them. We adapted in weeks what took you centuries to develop." Walker pressed a button on the podium. Behind him, the view changed to show footage of Earth's counterattack. Captured alien vessels now piloted by humans, alongside hastily constructed Earthships equipped with reverse-engineered weapons tearing through the Concordat fleet. This message is not just for what remains of your Concordat leadership. It is for every spacefaring civilization in this galaxy. Walker's voice grew harder. Earth was not looking for war. We did not venture into space seeking conflict. You brought this war to us. The screen behind him changed again, showing the test firing of a new weapon system. A beam of energy lanced out from an orbital platform, striking a small asteroid. The space rock didn't explode. It simply ceased to exist, reduced to its component atoms in an instant. This weapon was developed by Earth scientists, based on technology we captured from your invasion fleet. What took your species generations to create, we mastered in months. Walker's face remained impassive. And this is just the beginning. The screen changed again, showing production facilities buried deep beneath Earth's surface, churning out ships and weapons at a pace that even the Concordat would find difficult to match. "Let me be clear about what happens next," Walker continued. "Earth will rebuild. Earth will expand into our solar system and eventually to the stars. We will develop our own path among the galactic community." Walker leaned forward slightly, his hands gripping the edges of the podium. "And if any species attacks Earth again, if any civilization makes the same mistake the Concordat made, they will be annihilated." The last word hung in the air. Not defeated, not pushed back, annihilated. This is not a threat. This is not a negotiating position. This is a promise. Walker straightened up. "We now possess the means to detect your faster-than-light travel. We can track your ships, and should any hostile vessel approach our world again, we will respond with overwhelming force." Behind him, Earth continued its slow rotation, the scars of invasion clearly visible. "Earth seeks no war. Earth desires no empire. Leave us in peace, and you will find us peaceful. Attack us again." Walker paused, letting his words sink in. "And it will be the last decision your civilization ever makes." Walker nodded once. "That is all." The broadcast ended. The red light on the camera blinked off. For a moment there was silence on the command deck. Then Reed spoke, her voice quiet. "Do you think they'll listen?" Walker turned to look back at Earth. Lights were visible now on its night side, cities being rebuilt, power grids coming back online. Humanity, resilient as ever, was already healing. "Some will," he said. "Others will see it as a challenge. That's why we need to be ready." Reed nodded. "The captured data shows at least 3 major power groups besides the Concordat. Not all of them will be happy to learn about a new species that can fight back." Walker's gaze remained fixed on Earth. "Then they'll learn what the Concordat learned. Humanity doesn't start wars." His eyes hardened. "We finish them." In the vast reaches of space, the broadcast rippled outward at faster-than-light speeds, carried by captured Concordat relay stations. In thousands of alien ships, command centers, and worlds, beings of various forms and biologies watched the human admiral deliver his cold warning. And on a distant world that humans would one day know as Nova Prime, General Krell of the Void Wing, Armada watched the broadcast with growing rage. The defeat of the Concordat forces could not stand. The humans' arrogance would not go unanswered. He began to plan. 6 months after Earth's warning was broadcast to the stars, Ambassador Thomas Gray stepped off the shuttle onto the metal floor of Nexus Station. He tried not to look impressed, but it was difficult. The massive space station hung at the edge of what was once Concordat space, a giant metal wheel spinning slowly to create gravity. Ships of all sizes and shapes docked along its outer ring. "Try not to stare," whispered Lisa Ortiz, his chief of security. "We don't want to look like the new kids at school." Gray nodded. He was a tall man with short gray hair that matched his last name. Before becoming Earth's first ambassador to alien species, he had been a colonel in the United Earth Defense Force. The scars on his face told the story of the battles he had fought during the invasion. Any hostiles identified? He asked quietly. About a dozen species represented here, Ortiz replied. At least 3 were part of the Concordat. The others, we're still figuring them out. A blue-skinned alien approached them. It walked on 2 legs and had 4 arms. Its face had no nose, just breathing slits, and its eyes were large and completely black. Ambassador Gray of Earth, the alien said in perfect English. I am Liaison Vera of the Ashtari. Welcome to Nexus Station. Gray extended his hand, then realized the alien might not know the human custom. To his surprise, Vera reached out with one of its lower arms and shook his hand perfectly. We have studied your species, Vera explained. The Ashtari believe in understanding others. I appreciate that, Gray said. We have much to learn about galactic society. Yes, Vera agreed. And many have much to learn about humans. Your victory over the Concordat has created much discussion. As they walked through the station, Gray tried not to react to the many alien forms around him. Some looked almost human. Others were so strange he couldn't even tell which parts were heads and which were bodies. Many stopped to stare at the humans as they passed. Your quarters have been prepared, Vera said, leading them to a section of the station marked with Earth's flag. This will be your embassy. The Trading Council will meet with you tomorrow. After Vera left, Ortiz ran a scanner around the rooms. Clean, she announced. No listening devices. That we can detect anyway. Gray nodded and turned to the rest of his team. Besides Ortiz, there were 2 diplomats, 3 scientists, and 4 Marines in plain clothes. Earth was taking no chances. Dr. Miller, he said to one of the scientists, what do we know about the Ashtari? Miller, a woman with short blonde hair and quick eyes, checked her tablet. They're traders and diplomats. They stay neutral in most conflicts. They weren't part of the Concordat, but they did business with them. Can we trust them? Miller shrugged. More than others, probably. But remember, every species here has its own goals. The next day, Gray sat at a large round table with representatives from 12 alien species. Some looked at the humans with curiosity. Others showed clear hostility. Earth claims the right to defend itself, said a reptilian alien with red scales. Yet you threaten to destroy entire civilizations. How are we to trust such violent creatures? Gray looked directly at the alien. We didn't start the war. The Concordat did. We finished it. A lucky victory, sneered another alien, this one covered in thick fur with 6 eyes arranged in a circle on its face. Primitive beings shouldn't play with technology they don't understand. Before Gray could answer, Vera spoke. The Ashtari have reviewed the battle data. Earth's victory was not luck. They adapted and innovated at a rate never before seen in the galaxy. This is concerning to some. Concerning? Asked the furry alien. It's dangerous. These humans could be building fleets right now, planning to attack us all. Gray shook his head. Earth wants trade, not war. A loud boom shook the room, cutting off Gray's words. Alarms blared throughout the station. Security breach in Docking Bay 7, announced a voice over the station's speakers. Ortiz was instantly at Gray's side, weapon drawn. We need to move, sir. They rushed back to the Earth Embassy section. Dr. Miller met them at the door, her face pale. It was a bomb, she said. In the docking bay where our shuttle was parked. The shuttle is destroyed. Gray's face hardened. Casualties? 2 station security officers. No humans. This was a message, Ortiz said. They want us to know we're not welcome. Later that night, as Gray sat in his office reviewing security footage, Vera arrived unexpectedly. Ambassador, we must speak privately, the alien said. Vera seemed nervous, constantly looking around. Gray nodded to Ortiz, who checked Vera for weapons, then left them alone. What I tell you now comes at great risk, Vera said quietly. General Krell of the Voidwing Armada is gathering forces. He was a high commander in the Concordat, and he sees your people as a stain on his honor. Gray leaned forward. The bombing? Krell's agents, yes, but this is just the beginning. Vera's black eyes seemed to grow darker. He is convincing others that humans will become conquerors if not stopped now. He speaks of your rapid technological growth as proof. We just want to be left alone, Gray insisted. Perhaps, but your Admiral Walker's message frightened many, and fear leads to bad decisions. Vera paused. There is more. Something called Operation Sunforge. What's that? I don't know details, only that it involves a weapon of terrible power. Vera stood to leave. Watch for allies, Ambassador. Not all species agree with Krell. Some see potential in humans. After Vera left, Gray called Dr. Reed back on Earth. Her face appeared on the screen, looking tired. Emily, we need to speed up the Sentinel system, he said without greeting. And get the Admiral. We have a problem. 3 weeks later, Gray stood before representatives of 10 different alien species in a private meeting room. These weren't the hostile ones from before. These were potential allies, curious about Earth. My government has authorized me to share this with you, Gray said, activating a display. The screen showed a test firing of Earth's new defense system. Massive satellites in orbit around Earth fired energy beams that converged on a small moon in the outer solar system. The beams cut through the moon's surface like butter, splitting it in half. A murmur went through the aliens. This is one of several defense systems Earth has developed, Gray explained. We call it the Sentinel system. It can target any ship entering our solar system. You show us weapons? Asked a tall, thin alien with skin like tree bark. Is this a threat? No, Gray said firmly. It's proof. Proof that Earth can defend itself. Proof that attacking us again would be suicide. He looked at each alien in turn. We want peace. We want trade. We want to learn from you and share what we know. But we will not be conquered. One of the aliens, a being that looked like a floating ball of light, moved closer. Some on this station say humans are too dangerous to be allowed into the galactic community. That you will become the next Concordat. Gray shook his head. Earth has no interest in building an empire. We had enough trouble managing just one planet. This got a few laughs from the aliens, but we will not be victims either. As the meeting ended, several of the aliens approached Gray to discuss possible trade agreements. It was a start. Later, as Gray returned to the Earth Embassy, an urgent message waited for him from Dr. Reed. He read it twice, his face growing. First, the message was simple. Their intelligence teams had intercepted communications about Operation Sunforge. It wasn't just a weapon, it was a planet killer, and Earth was its target. Gray looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, General Krell was preparing for war. And despite all of Earth's new weapons and technologies, Gray wondered if they were ready for what was coming. The warning had been delivered, but some were choosing not to listen. Admiral Walker stood in the massive underground hangar, looking up at humanity's greatest achievement since the end of the invasion. The UES Defiance was Earth's first faster-than-light spaceship, built using technology captured from the Concordat fleet. It wasn't as large as the alien ships had been, but its sleek black hull hinted at the deadly weapon systems it carried. She'll be ready for testing next week, said Chief Engineer Roberts, a woman with dark skin and hands rough from years of work. We've improved their engine design by about 30%. Walker nodded. And the weapons? Better than anything. The Concordat had, Roberts said with pride. The main cannon can punch through 3 meters of their strongest armor. We've also installed the new Prometheus device. Walker's face grew serious at the mention of the Prometheus device. It was Earth's most terrible weapon, designed as a last resort. The scientists who created it refused to test it at full power, fearing what it might do. A young officer approached them. Admiral, urgent message from Ambassador Gray on Nexus Station. Walker followed the officer to the command center, buried deep under what used to be Colorado before the invasion. The room was filled with screens and busy personnel. One large screen lit up with Gray's face. Admiral, we have confirmed reports about Operation Sunforge, Gray said without greeting. It's worse than we thought. Tell me, Walker ordered. It's a superweapon being built in the Erebus system. According to our sources, it can create an artificial solar flare and direct it at a target system. Gray's face was grim. It could burn Earth's atmosphere away. Nothing would survive. Walker was silent for a moment. Timeline? 2 weeks, maybe less, until it's operational. General Krell has united 7 species into what they're calling the Purgation Front. Their goal is to eliminate humanity before we can spread to other star systems. Walker turned to the officer beside him. Prepare the Defiance for immediate launch. Contact Captain Reeves. Sir, the ship hasn't completed testing, the officer protested. It'll have to be good enough, Walker said firmly. We need to see this weapon for ourselves. He turned back to Gray's image. Thomas, do we have any allies out there? Gray nodded. A few. The Ashtari have been helpful. There's also a splinter group from the Concordat, led by a Commander Thex, who seems to hate Krell more than he fears humans. And the Mercantile Collective sees profit potential in trading with us. Get whatever intelligence you can about the Erebus system. We're sending the Defiance to investigate. After the call ended, Walker sat alone in his office. On his desk was a photo of his family, taken before the invasion. His wife and daughter had been in London when the Concordat ships arrived. London was now a crater. A knock at the door interrupted his thoughts. Dr. Reed entered, looking as tired as he felt. You wanted to see me, Admiral? You're going on the Defiance, Walker said. You know more about alien technology than anyone. They need you to analyze this Sunforge weapon. Reed nodded. I've been studying the intercepted communications. If their science is solid, this weapon could do exactly what they claim. Can we stop it? Reed hesitated. Maybe, but we need to know more about how it works. Walker stood and walked to a wall, map showing Earth's solar system. Small lights indicated the growing network of defense platforms, outposts on Mars and the moons of Jupiter, mining operations in the asteroid belt. Humanity was expanding, rebuilding. We've come too far to lose everything now, he said quietly. Captain Michael Reeves was a young man for such an important command. At 35, he had distinguished himself during the invasion by capturing an alien destroyer and turning its weapons against the Concordat fleet. His right arm was now an advanced prosthetic, a reminder of what that victory had cost him. He stood on the bridge of the Defiance, watching his crew prepare for their first faster-than-light jump. Engine room reports ready, Captain, said his first officer, Commander Wilson. Dr. Reed, are you comfortable? Reeves asked the scientist, who sat at a specialized console designed to monitor alien technology. As comfortable as one can be when about to be flung across the galaxy, she replied with a small smile. Reeves turned to Major Diana Wells, who led the ship's squad of Special Forces soldiers. Your team ready, Major? Wells nodded. Her face showed no emotion, but her eyes were sharp. Ready to give General Krell a proper greeting if we meet him. Let's hope it doesn't come to that, Reeves said. This is a reconnaissance mission. We observe the weapon, gather intelligence, and return to Earth. He sat in the captain's chair and opened the ship-wide communication system. All hands, prepare for FTL jump. This is not a drill. Reeves nodded to his navigator. Take us to the Erebus system. The Defiance shuddered slightly as its engines powered up. Outside, the stars seemed to stretch into lines. Then, with a flash, the ship vanished from Earth's solar system. On Nexus Station, Ambassador Gray met secretly with Commander Thex in a quiet corner of the station's garden area. Thex was a tall, thin alien with pale blue skin and 4 eyes arranged vertically on his face. He had once been a high-ranking officer in the Concordat fleet. Your ship has departed for Erebus? Thex asked in a low voice. Gray nodded. Can you tell me anything more about what they'll find there? Thex looked around nervously. The Purgation Front has gathered a large fleet to protect Sunforge. General Krell commands from his flagship, the Dominion. Why are you helping us? Gray asked. Your people tried to conquer Earth. Thex's upper eyes narrowed. Krell is a fool who dreams of old glories. The Concordat was corrupt and dying before we ever found your world. Your people simply hastened its end. He leaned closer. Some of us see a different future, one where species work together rather than conquering each other. A noble thought, Gray said, but difficult to believe after what your people did to Earth. Not all of us supported the invasion, Thek said, and after seeing how your people fought, many of us would prefer to be your allies than your enemies. Their conversation was interrupted by Liaison Vera, who approached quickly. Ambassador Commander, Vera said urgently, you must leave. Station security is searching for both of you. What's happened? Gray asked. Agents of the Purgation Front have accused you of espionage. They demand your arrest. Vera's black eyes showed concern. This is just an excuse. They plan to kill you both. Gray and Thex followed Vera through hidden maintenance tunnels within the station. They emerged near the docking bays. My ship is here, Thex said, pointing to a small, sleek vessel. I can take us somewhere safe. What about my staff? Gray asked Vera. Already warned. They are making their way to your emergency escape shuttle. Vera handed Gray a small data device. Take this. It contains all the intelligence the Ashtari have gathered about Sunforge. Your Captain Reeves will need it. As alarms began to sound throughout the station, Gray thanked Vera and boarded Thex's ship. Through the viewport, he watched as Nexus station grew smaller behind them. Where are we going? He asked Thex. To join your ship, the alien replied. I know shortcuts through Erebus that your captain will need. Gray looked out at the stars streaking past. The Purgation Front is making their move. Yes, Thex agreed. The war has already begun. In the Erebus system, the Defiance emerged from faster-than-light travel far from the binary stars at the system's center. The ship's stealth systems, improved versions of Concordat technology, immediately activated. On the bridge, Captain Reeves ordered passive scans of the system. What they found confirmed their worst fears. Massive energy readings from the smaller star, reported Dr. Reed, studying her instruments. They've built something around it, something huge. Ship count? Reeves asked his tactical officer. At least 50 warships patrolling the outer system. The inner system has twice that many. This is a major fleet operation. Reeves studied the tactical display. So much for the element of surprise. We need to get closer to that weapon, Doctor. Reed looked up from her console, her face pale. Captain, based on these readings, Sunforge is nearly operational. The energy output is growing. How long? Reed shook her head. Days, maybe hours. Not the 2 weeks we thought. Reeves gripped the arms of his chair. The Defiance was alone, deep in enemy territory, facing an entire fleet protecting a weapon that could destroy Earth. Plot a course through the asteroid belt, he ordered. We need to get close enough to see exactly what we're dealing with. As the Defiance moved silently through space, the crew could not know that Ambassador Gray and Commander Thex were racing to join them, or that back on Earth, Admiral Walker was preparing for the worst. The storm was no longer gathering. It had arrived. The UES Defiance moved slowly through the asteroid belt of the Erebus system. Captain Reeves stood on the bridge, studying the tactical display that showed their position relative to the massive construction around the smaller of the binary stars. Magnify. Sector 7, he ordered. The screen zoomed in on part of the structure orbiting the star. It looked like a giant metal ring with numerous stations attached to it. Energy pulses flowed from the star through conduits into the ring. What are we looking at, Dr. Reed? Reeves asked. Reed frowned at her readings. It's like nothing I've seen before. They're harvesting energy directly from the star and channeling it through those arrays. She looked up at Reeves. Based on the energy signatures, this device operates on principles similar to Concordat weapons, but on a vastly larger scale. Can it do what they claim? Reeves asked. Create a directed solar flare that could reach Earth? Reed nodded grimly. Yes. The physics are sound. With enough energy, they could generate an artificial solar flare and direct it through a series of focusing arrays. The resulting beam would maintain coherence over interstellar distances. Commander Wilson joined them. Captain, we've detected a command station at these coordinates. He pointed to a large structure at the edge of the construction zone. It appears to be coordinating the work on the weapon. Reeves turned to Major Wells, who stood nearby. Major, I need your team to infiltrate that station. We need information on Sunforge's operational timeline and defensive capabilities. Wells nodded. My team can insert using the stealth shuttle. What's our objective? Get in, download their operational data, and get out without being detected, Reeves said. We need to know exactly when this thing will be ready to fire. And if we're detected? Wells asked. Reeves looked at her steadily. Then complete the mission at all costs. 2 hours later, Major Wells and her team of 5 Special Forces soldiers approached the Purgation Front Command Station in a small shuttle with stealth technology. The shuttle was barely visible against the backdrop of space as it docked with an emergency airlock on the station's underside. Remember, we're here for information, not a firefight, Wells told her team as they prepared to enter the station. Move fast. Stay quiet. They cut through the airlock and entered the station. The corridors were designed for beings larger than humans, with high ceilings and wide doorways. The team moved silently, using handheld devices to track life signs and avoid patrols. Command center should be 2 levels up, whispered Sergeant Martinez, checking a small holographic map. They found a maintenance shaft and climbed up. As they emerged on the upper level, 2 alien guards turned a corner and spotted them. Before the aliens could sound an alarm, Wells and Martinez fired their silenced weapons. The guards fell without a sound. Drag them into that storage room, Wells ordered. We need to move faster now. They reached the command center's outer door. Through a small window, they could see a large room filled with alien technicians working at various stations. At the center was a holographic display of the Sunforge weapon rotating slowly. Too many to take out quietly, Martinez said. Wells nodded. We'll use the bypass device. Dr. Reed said it should tap into their systems without alerting them. Sergeant Rodriguez attached a small device to the wall near the door. Its screen lit up, showing alien symbols rapidly changing. It's working, Rodriguez said. I'm getting data flows to schematics and operational timelines. His face suddenly paled. Major, according to this, Sunforge will be operational in less than 18 hours. Copy everything, Wells ordered. As Rodriguez worked, Wells peered through the window again. A large alien with distinctive red markings on its armor entered the command center. The other aliens immediately stood at attention. That's General Krell, whispered Lieutenant Park. Intelligence was right. He's personally overseeing this operation. Wells watched as Krell examined the holographic display. He seemed angry, gesturing forcefully at the technicians. One of the aliens brought up a new display showing Earth. He's planning to target Earth as soon as the weapon is ready, Wells said. Rodriguez suddenly tensed. Major, security protocols just changed. They're sweeping the systems, and they'll detect our device any second. Disconnect now, Wells ordered. Do we have what we need? Most of it, Rodriguez said, removing the device. Enough. An alarm suddenly blared throughout the station. A voice spoke in an alien language. They know we're here, Martinez said. Wells made a quick decision. Park, Rodriguez, take the data and get back to the shuttle. The rest of us will create a diversion to cover your escape. Major, Park protested. Those aren't our orders. Die. Mission is to get that data back to the Defiance, Wells said firmly. Now go. As Park and Rodriguez reluctantly headed back toward the maintenance shaft, Wells led Martinez and the others in the opposite direction. Let's make some noise, she said, pulling out explosive charges from her pack. Captain Reeves paced the bridge of the Defiance. The stealth shuttle had been gone for 3 hours, longer than planned. Any communication from Major Wells? He asked for the 3rd time. Nothing yet, sir, the communications officer replied. Wait, I'm picking up a transmission. It's Lieutenant Park. Park's voice came through, broken by static. Defiance, this is Park. We have the data, station security alerted, Major Wells and team providing diversion, requesting immediate pickup. Reeves turned to his tactical officer. Where are they? I have the shuttle's beacon, sir. They're moving away from the station, but they're being pursued by 2 patrol craft. Reeves faced a terrible choice. If he moved the Defiance to rescue the shuttle, they would lose their stealth advantage. The entire Purgation Front fleet would know they were there. Helm, set course to intercept the shuttle, he ordered. Weapons, prepare to engage those patrol. Craft, sir, the tactical officer warned. That will expose our position. I know, Reeves said grimly. But we need that data, and I won't abandon our people. The Defiance moved out from behind the asteroid that had concealed it. Its engines flared as it accelerated toward the fleeing shuttle. Enemy patrol craft in range, reported the weapons officer. Take them out, Reeves ordered. The Defiance fired its main weapons. Beams of energy lanced across space, destroying both patrol craft instantly. The stealth shuttle, now clear of pursuers, adjusted course toward the Defiance. Sir, we're being scanned by multiple enemy vessels, the tactical officer reported urgently. They've detected us. Reeves watched as dozens of enemy ships began, moving toward their position. Get that shuttle aboard now. Then prepare for emergency jump to light speed. The shuttle docked quickly. Lieutenant Park and Sergeant Rodriguez rushed onto the bridge, looking exhausted and grim. Where's Major Wells? Reeves asked. Park handed him a data device. She stayed behind to ensure we got out, sir. Her last order was to deliver this to you. Reeves took the device. Dr. Reed, analyze this immediately. He turned back to Park. Did any of them make it? Park shook his head. The command station exploded as we were leaving. They took out a significant part of it, sir. Major Wells completed her mission. A moment of silence fell on the bridge. Then the tactical officer's voice broke through. Captain, enemy vessels closing from all directions. We're surrounded. On the main screen, dozens of Purgation Front warships moved to encircle the Defiance. Leading them was a massive vessel that dwarfed the others. The Dominion, Rodriguez said quietly. General Krell's flagship. Dr. Reed looked up from her console, her face pale. Captain, I've analyzed the data. Sunforge is ready for initial testing now. They've accelerated the timetable. And, she hesitated. They're targeting Earth first. Reeves stared at the approaching enemy fleet. They were outgunned and surrounded. But Earth's survival depended on stopping that weapon. Helm, plot a direct course to Sunforge, he ordered. Sir? The helmsman questioned. Through the enemy fleet? Exactly, Reeves said, his artificial right hand clenched into a fist. Prepare the Prometheus device. The bridge crew fell silent. They all knew what the Prometheus device was designed to do. We may not make it back from this, Reeves said quietly, but Earth will. The Defiance turned toward the heart of the Erebus system, its engines glowing brightly as it accelerated toward the waiting enemy fleet. Behind them, unnoticed in the chaos, a small ship emerged from lightspeed. Ambassador Gray and Commander Thex had arrived, just in time to see the battle begin. The UES Defiance raced toward the heart of the Erebus system, its engines pushed beyond safe limits. Behind it, the Purgation Front fleet gave chase, led by General Krell's massive flagship, the Dominion. On the bridge, Captain Reeves gripped the arms of his command chair as the ship shuddered under enemy fire. Shields at 60%, reported Commander Wilson. We can't take much more of this. Stay on course, Reeves ordered. How long until we're in range of Sunforge? 3 minutes, Captain, the helmsman answered. Dr. Reed worked frantically at her console. The Prometheus device is ready, but we need to get closer. It has to disrupt the star's magnetic field at precisely the right point. Lieutenant Park, who had barely had time to catch his breath since returning from the command station mission, suddenly called out from the communications station. Captain, I'm picking up a transmission on a concordant frequency. Ignore it, Reeves said. Focus on, sir, it's addressed specifically to us, using Earth military protocols. The source claims to be Ambassador Gray. Reeves hesitated. Put it through. Gray's voice filled the bridge. Defiance, this is Ambassador Gray aboard Commander Thex's vessel. We have crucial information about Sunforge's weaknesses. Do not, repeat, do not deploy the Prometheus device yet. Ambassador, we're a little busy right now, Reeves replied as the ship rocked from another hit. Captain, Commander Thex knows a way to disable Sunforge without using the Prometheus. His ship has a stealth system more advanced than yours. We can approach undetected while you draw their fire. Reeves glanced at Dr. Reed, who nodded. It's possible. The Prometheus is untested at full power. We don't know what might happen. After a moment's thought, Reeves made his decision. Ambassador, what's your plan? Thex can get us close to Sunforge's control nexus, Gray explained. The weapon draws power through 3 main conduits. If we can overload even one of them, the entire system will fail catastrophically. And how exactly do we do that? Reeves asked. Commander Thex's voice joined the conversation. My ship carries a quantum disruptor, a device designed to shut down concordant technology in case of rebellion. It will work on Sunforge. Another explosion rocked the Defiance. Shields at 40%, Wilson reported grimly. We'll keep them. Busy, Reeves decided. How much time do you need? 10 minutes, Thex replied. Reeves looked at his tactical display. The Defiance was taking heavy fire, and Krell's flagship was closing in. You've got 8. Make them count. As Thex's small ship slipped undetected toward Sunforge, Reeves ordered the Defiance to change course. Sir? The helmsman questioned. Take us straight at the Dominion, Reeves ordered. Let's introduce ourselves to General Krell. Aboard Thex's ship, Ambassador Gray held on as they maneuvered through the massive structure of Sunforge. The quantum disruptor, a cylinder about the size of a human arm, sat secured in a compartment near him. Why are you really helping us? Gray asked Thex as they flew. This goes beyond just hating General Krell. Thex's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. A gesture Gray had learned indicated thoughtfulness among his species. The old ways are failing, Thex said simply. The Concordat conquered and consumed for centuries. We called it progress, but it was just expansion without purpose. He guided the ship through a narrow gap between 2 massive energy collectors. Your species showed there is another way. You fought not to conquer, but to survive. You took our technology not to dominate others, but to protect yourselves. Gray watched as they approached a massive junction where energy from the star flowed through 3 enormous conduits. That is where we must place the disruptor, Thex said. The central control nexus. Will your ship be safe when it goes off? Gray asked. Thex made a sound that might have been a laugh. No. The energy backlash will destroy everything within 500,000 kilometers. Gray stared at him. That's a suicide mission. Yes, Thex agreed calmly, but it will save both our peoples. The Defiance slammed into the side of the Dominion, its remaining weapons firing at point-blank range. On the bridge, Reeves held on as systems sparked and failed around him. Direct hit on their main power core, Wilson shouted over the alarms. Shields failing, announced the tactical officer. Hull breaches on decks 3 through 7. Reeves activated the ship-wide communication system. All hands prepare to abandon ship. Get to the escape pods. Dr. Reed looked up from her console. Captain, Sunforge is powering up. They're starting the firing sequence. Reeves checked the time. Gray and Thex had only been gone for 6 minutes. Can we still deploy the Prometheus device? He asked Reed. She shook her head. The launch system was damaged in the attack. On the main screen, they could see the massive arrays of Sunforge beginning to glow as they charged with energy from the star. In minutes, they would release a directed solar flare that would travel faster than light to Earth, burning away its atmosphere and killing all life on the planet. Sir, Park called out, I'm receiving a transmission from General Krell. The screen changed to show the alien general. His reptilian features were set in what might have been a smile. Human captain, Krell said, his voice translated by the ship's computer. You have fought well, but your primitive vessel is no match for the might of the Purgation Front. Surrender now, and I will allow your crew to witness the cleansing of your world before you join them in death. Reeves stood, despite the ship, shaking around him. Earth warned you, General. We said what would happen if you attacked us again. Krell made a dismissive gesture. Empty threats from a primitive species. Your warning means nothing. That's where you're wrong, Reeves said, calmly. Our warning wasn't empty. and you're about to find out exactly what happens when you ignore it. At that moment, a blinding flash of light erupted from the center of Sunforge. The massive weapon's structure began to break apart as energy surged back through its systems. "What is happening?" Krell demanded, his composure breaking. "What have you done?" Reeves allowed himself a small smile. "We annihilated you, just like we promised." The transmission cut off as Sunforge collapsed in on itself. The energy it had been drawing from the star rebounded through the system, creating a shockwave that tore through the Purgation Front fleet. "All hands to escape pods now," Reeves ordered as the Defiance began to break apart. 3 months later, Admiral Walker stood before the newly formed Galactic Council on Nexus Station. Representatives from 27 spacefaring civilizations watched as he approached the central podium. Walker wore his formal uniform, decorated with medals from the invasion war. Behind him stood Ambassador Gray, now recovered from his injuries, and Dr. Reed, who had been promoted for her work analyzing alien technology. 3 months ago, Walker began, a coalition called the Purgation Front attempted to destroy Earth with a superweapon. They failed, thanks to the bravery of the crew of the UES Defiance and our allies. He looked around the chamber at the assembled aliens. Most watched with interest. Some showed clear hostility. Others, like Liaison Vera of the Ashtari, nodded in approval. Twice now alien forces have attacked Earth. Twice we have defended ourselves. Walker's voice grew harder. "I am here today to restate our warning and to offer a choice." He pressed a button on the podium. A holographic display appeared, showing Earth's new defense network. Hundreds of platforms in orbit around the planet and throughout the solar system, all equipped with weapons based on those used to destroy Sunforge. "Earth does not seek war," Walker continued. "We do not want conquest. We only want to live in peace, to trade with those who wish to trade, to learn from those willing to teach, and to share what we know with those who ask." He paused, looking directly at the representatives from the remaining Purgation Front species. "But if attacked again, our response will be immediate and final. There will not be a third warning." The chamber was silent. Then Vera of the Ashtari stood. "The Ashtari support peace with Earth," the blue-skinned alien announced. "We have seen what humans can accomplish, both in war and in diplomacy. We choose alliance over conflict." One by one, other representatives stood to voice their support. Not all, but enough. As the session ended, Gray approached Walker. "Do you think they'll listen this time?" Walker watched as the aliens filed out of the chamber, talking among themselves. "Some will. The others..." He touched the holographic display, rotating the image of Earth surrounded by its defenses. "The others now know we weren't bluffing." Back on Earth, cities were being rebuilt. Alien technology had accelerated recovery efforts and opened new frontiers in science, medicine, and quality of life. The first civilian faster-than-light ship was preparing for its maiden voyage to Proxima Centauri, carrying scientists and explorers, eager to see what lay beyond their solar system. In a memorial garden in what was once London, a monument had been erected to the crew of the Defiance and to Commander Thex. Captain Reeves, one of the few survivors, often visited. His artificial arm had been replaced with an even more advanced model, and he was training crews for Earth's growing fleet of ships. The warning remained, but alongside it grew something new: the possibility of peace in a galaxy that had known, mostly, war. Humanity had earned its place among the stars not by conquering, but by refusing to be conquered, and that, perhaps, was the greatest victory of all.